Guys, Valentine's Day is coming up and it's time to elevate your romantic side. Don't worry, Uncle Chael is here to help. Go check out underluckystars.com. They make beautiful star maps showing the unique alignment of the stars during a place and time chosen by you. Birthday, engagement, wedding, a first kiss. It's an incredible gift to signify an important moment in your life. All you need to do is enter the time and location of your special moment, and you'll receive a beautiful archival print on museum quality thick matte art paper showing the exact constellation of the stars that were above you during that special moment in time. These maps are gorgeous, and this special gift will last for generations. Under Lucky Stars is the original star map maker, and their proprietary star mapping method is verified by NASA astrophysicists to ensure their accuracy. Visit underluckystars.com/Chael. That'll get you a 10% discount with code Chael, or just click on the link below. I saw some training footage. I was flipping through something the kids call TikTok, and if I'm wrong, it was something the kids call Instagram. But it was a video, and it was of Jon Jones training, and the captions were all, "Jon looks slow and sluggish at heavyweight." That grabbed my attention because I have not seen that and I haven't even heard that. So I click on it. It was a pretty good training video of Jon in terms, he's on a treadmill. It's got a slight incline. He's running pretty hard. He comes off the treadmill. He hits 2 spin kicks, one in opposite directions to a coach that's holding a pad. He jumps down, does 10 push-ups, and then I don't know how many times he did back and forth, but this was the circuit. And he was tired, and he was sweating, and he was working, and he was a huffing, and he was a puffing. It all looked good to me. In all fairness, frightening. Jon Jones is a great fighter. I don't think he's a scary fighter. He's approaching that. With this new size and this power and explosiveness, in addition to the skills, he's approaching frightening. I did not see the way it was headlined. Jon Jones, slow and sluggish at heavyweight. That's just not what my eyes told me. Now, right when I got done watching that, I read an article by Big John. And Big John was talking with Josh Thompson and weighing in on Jones versus Stipe. And John went as far as to say, I think that's going to happen. I think that's exactly where the UFC will go. I do believe that will be a championship match. I think Jones and Stipe know it and that they're moving in that direction. John then went a little bit further to say, I think Stipe is going to have a problem because he's older. Now, that's very fair, because I'm wondering that too. Look, that's the one that will get us all. Jon Jones has broken rule after rule. Taking time off and getting better, changing weight classes and performing well. Jon Jones has been breaking rules from the beginning. You don't get to be the champion of the world at 23. You don't get to beat 3 world champions by the time you're 23. You don't get to be a main eventer. You don't get to finish Shogun, who's unfinishable, at 23. Jon's been breaking rules from the beginning. So I don't know that we can just look at, okay, age is finally going to get him. Okay, this size is going to be a problem. Okay, he's had a layoff. He's not going to be at his... I don't think we get into... Okay, his coaches have left him. He's in a new atmosphere. Generally, those would all be red flags. That crazy sumbitch doesn't know it, though. You have to know it, right? If you don't... It's only true if you believe it's true. It's a very real thing. I've seen this before. Dan Henderson, one of the guys I've looked up to the most in this sport and life in general. Dan Henderson quit wrestling after the 96 Olympics. He's a 2-time Olympian. He quit wrestling. Somebody gets a hold of him 12 days before the National Open in 1998. Dan shows up to the National Open. He got in 3 workouts. It was just enough to make weight. It was a joke. He was playing. He just wanted to come see the boys. It was like a reunion thing. He wins the Nationals and gets outstanding wrestler. Dan didn't know that he shouldn't be better. Dan didn't know you get worse at something. He knew where I left off. I can beat all these guys, so here I am again, and I can beat all these guys, right? It's only true if you know it's true. And I bring this to you because when you do look at what Big John's saying, that's fair. It's going to grab Jon. Big John was speaking about Stipe. It's going to get Stipe. Sure it is. Has it done it yet? We don't know. That's between those boys. That's why they got to fight. I think that we're moving that direction too. Now, let's say that Jon is right, which would make me right, because I agree with it all. And let's say we're going to get Jon Jones and Stipe. If that happens, Jon Jones is going to reach out from across the table, shake hands with Dana White, smile very big, and tell him thank you. And that would be the right thing to do. A world title fight, a return to grace, a potential and opportunity to return to glory that comes with a great big jackpot full of money at the end of it. He's going to thank Dana White, right? Sure. Makes sense. 2 years ago, Dana offered in this fight. And it was closer to about 17 months ago, but Dana offered in this fight. Dana offered Jon Jones a shot at Stipe Miocic. That was the conversation that was going the night that Dana went to a press conference after Ngannou beat Rosenstrike, and Dana ended the conversation and said, next in line is going to be Francis. The reason that was such big news is because it meant it's not going to be Jon, and Jon was flirting with the division. He'd already said, I'm going to that division. He'd already relinquished the 205-pound title, so I'm just bringing to you the very same thing that Jon is now smiling, shaking hands, and saying thank you for. He was offered 16, 17, 18 months ago. 16, 17, 18 months ago to do the same thing while you're still in shape, you're ready to go, your senses are there, you haven't taken time off, you're still with your team. In Jon Jones's world to this day, it equals about $12 million. That's possibly a downside. In a worst case scenario, had Jon just done this, he's looking at about $12 million. Now, that's Jon's deal. I just want to bring to your attention what Jon is now happy about, what he's now saying thank you for. He was offered a meaningful amount of time ago. And I see this happen in the sport constantly. I see some guy wants to break into the big time. He's thrilled. He tells the world. He goes to Facebook. He Instagrams it out. That same contract that he celebrated 2 or 3 wins later isn't enough, and he's disgusted, and everybody's against him, and everybody's holding back, and this isn't fair. There's a piece of that psychology that happens every single time. And we're seeing it play out right now when St. Pierre's not in the room, we're seeing it play out with the greatest fighter of all time. The greatest of all time, who knows the business, who knows professional sport, who's from a family of wonderfully accomplished athletes, is now going to be thanking and excited and celebrating an opportunity that was offered to him 17 months ago. I have no point, by the way. If you guys are waiting for my big reveal of my point, we're just having a discussion. But it's a very real piece of the psychology. And the world's a big place. And if you get stuck in the cracks, sometimes you'll never get out. You're talking about being your own worst enemy. Talking about guys that cut off their nose to spite their face. That's a real thing. Don't let it happen to you. If you had a contract one day that you celebrated, that your family celebrated, that you worked so hard to get, you don't get to be tired of it 2 or 3 months later. You knew what was in the contract. What's in the contract the day you said is the same thing that's in it today, but now you're no longer celebrating. It's a piece of the psychology, and I see guys get in their own way. And as good as they think they are, as big as they think they are, us fight fans want to see fights, and every Saturday we're going to. And if you're there, man, that's awesome. But my 2 hours or my $50 is still dedicated to whoever did say yes every Saturday. And it's one of the things that the guys miss. I will see fighters that retire, and they're on top, and they got a ton of fans. They could go do an appearance at a nightclub and get 10 grand. They can go do an autograph sign and get 15 grand. It's one of these things. They retire, they walk away. It comes back to what Bruce Buffer had weighed in on, which is eventually you become irrelevant. Now, the irrelevant isn't a slap in the face. There's a reason that when I watched SportsCenter last night and they covered football, they did not have Joe Montana on, who's the greatest quarterback of all time. That's just not what sports are. They're what's right now and what's next. That's just the way that it works. So the irrelevance isn't something that got taken from you. You helped to set the table. You helped to grow it when you were there. Hopefully you left it a little bit better than the way you entered, but somebody did that for you, and now you pass it to the next generation. Those guys that are getting all the attention will pass that to it's the way it works. And it's not a bad thing or dirty. It's a beautiful thing. You should feel wonderful to be part of that. The Dan Severns, the Ken Shamrocks, the Don Fries, my favorite, Marco Huas. They should be very proud of where the sport is today. They helped with that. But the sport doesn't come back and thank them. It's something that gets paid forward. You pay that forward, and then those guys pay it to the next guys, and they pay it to the next guys. That's what this is. That's why we're community. That's why we're an industry. Don't lose sight of that. And make sure that you understand the lesson. Jon Jones is going to fight Stipe. They're going to fight for the belt. Jon's going to make a whole bunch of money. They're going to do it in the heavyweight class. All of those things I just said were also true the first time this conversation started 17 months ago. We are still going to get what we wanted. We want to see Jon fight Stipe. We waited 17 months. We still get what we wanted. He is out $12 million.